So I've talked about 5 states: initial, learn, listen, specs, standby, and active. 6 states, sorry. So now we will talk about these states a little bit more. Okay, let us write HSRP states. Okay, so first our state is initial. Okay, in initial states is when the link comes up. Second our state is learn. Okay, this is the state where the HSRP device is trying to learn the virtual IP. Okay, virtual IP, we have talked about virtual IP is like, for example, we will wait, right here. For example, this is our topology. Okay, here we have two devices, okay, which are connected to HSRP, and here we have two LAN devices. Okay, these are our PC1 and PC2. Okay, so yesterday we have talked about, suppose this is our main router, or we can say this is our ISP. Okay, here we are pinging 8.8.8.8.8, and this is our router 1 and this is our router 2, and suppose this has IP 10.1, this has IP 20.1, and this PC has IP 10.1, and this one has we can say 10. So not 10.1, 10.10 and 10.20, and this one has 10.2. Now we know that we assign one default gateway to the PCs. Okay, suppose we have assigned default gateway to 10.1. Now what will happen? The data will go from here. Okay, suppose this is our primary link. Okay, which is as a bandwidth of around, suppose, 100 Mbps. Okay, now what will happen? And this is our secondary link. Okay, and this is a bandwidth of, Kaushal, please mute your mic. And suppose it has a bandwidth of 10 Mbps. Okay, now we have put default gateway as 10.1. Now data will go from here. Now what happened? Due to any reason this R1 goes down. What will happen if this R1 goes down? Okay, then this data will not go to the ISP. Okay, it will not ping 8.8.8. Now what we have to do? We have to change the default gateway. We will change the default gateway to 10.2. Okay, now what will happen? Data will go from here. Okay, but now this time it is using only 10 Mbps. It is using our secondary link. Now what will happen? After 5 minutes, this router comes up again. Okay, अरे हम यहाँ पे बंद कर देंगे इसको, पैसिव इंटरफेस की कमांड की हेल्प से बंद कर देंगे. ठीक है, एक पैसिव इंटरफेस कमांड होती है जिसकी वजह से अपडेट मैसेज भेजना बंद कर देता है राउट्स के. ठीक है, अभी मत बोलो इन चीजों के ऊपर, बस पहले एचएसआरपी का कॉन्सेप्ट समझो. ठीक है, अभी यहाँ पे डिफॉल्ट गेटवे की बात हो रही है. राउट्स कैसे काम करते हैं छोड़ दो, मैं राउट्स के ऊपर जाऊंगा नहीं, मैं आपको 0000 बताऊंगा कमांड. ठीक है, राउटिंग भूल जाओ, जब राउटिंग करेंगे उसके बाद बात करेंगे इस बारे में. ठीक है, हम यहाँ पे क्या करेंगे, आप ये बोलो नहीं, अपडेट भेजता रहेगा, यहाँ से बता देगा इस वाले इंटरफेस से यहाँ पे अपडेट भेज देगा, यही बोल रहे हो ना. तो अब यहाँ पे क्या करेंगे, यहाँ पे एक पैसिव इंटरफेस कमांड होती है. अगर हमने वो पैसिव इंटरफेस कमांड चलाई तो फिर ये क्या करेगा, ये लैंड की तरफ ना भेजेगा ही नहीं वो अपडेट्स. ठीक है, तो ये चीज अभी छोड़ो, इनके बारे में बात नहीं करनी. अभी नॉर्मल एचएसआरपी का कॉन्सेप्ट समझो. मतलब अभी मैं एचएसआरपी नहीं, वर्चुअल आईपी बता रहा हूँ क्या होता है. ठीक है, तो क्या बता रहा हूँ. हाँ, so after 5 minutes this R1 comes up. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to again change the default gateway to 10.1. Why we have to change again, change the default gateway? Because we want to use a 100 Mbps link. Okay, But we can see here that in our topology we will have multiple pieces, so it means we have to change the default gateway multiple times, so it is a headache. Okay, that's why we have a concept called HSRP. Okay, HSRP. So with the help of HSRP we send our data with the help of virtual IP. Suppose here we were sending the routes from 10.1, either from 10.1 or 10.2. Now we will create one virtual IP which is 10.5. Now this 10. All the data will go from the 10.5 virtual IP. Although it will use these links 10.1, 10.2, but the data will go from the this virtual IP which is 10.5, and we will have a virtual MAC also. Okay. Now let us write about all these things first. After that we'll move further. Okay, so in learning state what will happen, the hsrp device is trying to learn the virtual IP. Now our next state is listen. What happened in the listen state, that this time sorry, in the learning state device starts to learn the virtual IP, but in listen state it has already learned the virtual IP. Okay, now it will listen for hello messages from other HSRP device. Okay, it will learn, let me write it properly. So this time the device knows the virtual IP and it listens for the hello message, or we can say hello messages from the other HSRP devices. Why it will learn from why it will listens for the hello messages before the election of this active, standby and listen. Okay, now let us move to our next state, which is speak. Okay, here in speak the device sends hello messages and participate in the election to become the active router. So what happened in this state, that the devices sends hello messages, okay, and they participate in election. Which election? For the active router. Okay, now we have a next state called standby. Okay, these are the main states, standby and active. Okay, which router will become active, from which router the data will flow. Okay, now we have standby. So the device is, or we can say the device will wait patiently to take over the active state whenever the active router goes down. So this standby, you can say that this standby is a backup of the active router. What will happen when active router goes down? This standby router will become the active router. And how it does? It does with the help of the preemption. Okay, we will talk about preemption later. Okay, and remember that okay, I will write it down, that preemption is by default disable on the active router. We can enable it, okay, but by default, let me write. Okay, when I will explain the preemption, then I will tell you, okay, what is preemption. So now we have the next state called the active. Okay, now in active, the device receives वो बंद करो कौशल अपना. So we were talking about the active router. Now what is active router? That, or we can say, what is active state? The device receives the data intended for the virtual IP. So what we do here, okay, let me show you here. So what we do here, suppose we have two routers, okay, it is connected to the ISP and they are connected to this LAN. Okay, there is one PC. Suppose this one has IP 10.1, this is 10.2, this is 10.10, and default gateway we have write down 10.5. So this 10.5, we haven't have any 10.5 IP here. Okay, what we will do, we will create one virtual IP, okay, with the help of 10.5. Okay, now what will happen, according to the priority basis, one router will become active, one router will become standby. Okay, now suppose this router will become active. Now what will happen, this virtual IP will work here, not here. All the data will go from this router 1. Okay, and now, okay, yes, there is one preemption concept. Okay, what does preemption concept is? Okay, it helps in the election. Okay, so by default, let me write it down. Okay, so before preemption, let me write down 2 points also. Okay, that in 10 seconds, or we can say after 10 seconds, if we configure router, or we can say if we configure HSRP on other routers, then election will occur but if, or we can say, but if but if within 10 seconds we haven't configured HSRP, then election will not occur. What I mean to say is, suppose there are two routers. Okay, if I configured HSRP on this router, just a second, I got it. So now what will happen? Where were we? We have configured HSRP. Okay, yes. So, like I have configured this on this router one. There are two routers, router one and router two. Okay. Now I have configured HSRP on this router one. Okay. If I configured HSRP on router one and router two, like if I configured HSRP on router one, and after 10 seconds, if we configure HSRP on other routers, na, then election process will occur. Okay. Election process will occur. But if we haven't configured within 10 seconds HSRP on other devices, then election process will not occur. So as simple as that. So if we configure like within 10 seconds, we haven't configured HSRP, then election process will not occur. Now we will talk about the preemption, which is the main cause of this. What is the solution for this means? No. HSRP will work. Election will not work. Election of what? Active and standby. That router will become the active. Okay, suppose R1 after 10 seconds we haven't configured any like in R2 we haven't configured HSRP. Okay, due to any reason after 10 seconds we have configured HSRP on router 2. Okay, what will happen? Then active this router 1 will become the active router. This will go into the standby even if its priority will be low. Yes, yes. And we will configure this virtual IP. अरे नो फ्रॉम उस सेम नेटवर्क का होना चाहिए ना, बस ये देखना है। बाकी हम कोई भी आईपी ले सकते हैं, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं। ठीक है। नाउ what will happen? What was I was going to say? Yes. Now what will happen? This becomes the active router. Now you may be wondering that it has the lowest priority. Okay. Why it is not becoming the active router? It is because preemption is by default disabled on the active router. We can enable it. I'm still telling you guys. Okay. By default, preemption is disabled on the active router. If preemption is not enabled, it means it will not process the election process. But in standby and listen state, Kaushik, please mute your mic. In standby and listen, preemption is by default enable. Okay, so what happens if preemption is by default enabled? That's why whenever an active router goes down, the standby becomes the active router. Now suppose we have enabled preemption. Okay, suppose we have enabled assumption. What is assumption? Preemption. preemption, I told you, na, preemption is just a name. Okay, it is a feature with the help of that whenever any link goes down, na, or we can say any router goes down, it will start the election process. Okay, if a new router comes, if its priority is lower, then it will start the election process. But preemption is a feature which is by default disabled on the which router? Array, I just told you na. Active router. That's why a router which becomes the active will remain in active state until it goes yes, but it should be if we have configured HSRP within the 10 seconds na, then it will not work. But after 10 seconds, preemption got enabled. Why preemption got enabled? Because it becomes the active router. Array, it will think na that no router is look same as STP process. Okay, in STP we don't usually have the time. Okay, a router becomes root bridge. Okay, at the time of election, a switch becomes the root bridge. Okay, it will announce every router. But suppose if there are no routers, it will say not that I am root bridge. Same as happening here. Okay, for 10 seconds it will wait. If it will see that there are no active routers, then it will say that I am becoming the active router. If I become the active router, then preemption is by default disabled. If preemption is disabled, then it will not participate in the election process. Array, preemption is by default disable on the active router and enable disable on the active router and enable on the standby and listen router. Okay, it's when earlier it was preemption will be enabled, but when it become the active router, its preemption will be disabled. Yes, it's a feature. Okay, you can write it down. By default, preemption is disabled on the which router? Active router. Okay, but if what? Okay, so what was I was telling you guys here? So look, here suppose we have three routers, R1, R2 and R3. Okay, suppose this is our active router. Okay, and this is our standby and this is our listen. Now what will happen? Suppose this active router goes down. Okay, then this will become active and this will become standby. Now suppose again nothing happened like this. Okay, this is simple. If active router goes down, then standby will become active and the listen will become the standby. Now what will happen? Suppose we get back to again the same thing. This is active, this is standby and this is listen. Okay, suppose we have enabled preemption now. Okay, due to any reason, okay, this router becomes the active router. Okay, but now when this router comes, okay, and suppose we have given it priority of 120. Okay, by default on suppose on all the routers by default priority is 100. Okay, it has the 120 priority. Okay, now what will happen if preemption is enabled on the active router? Okay, then this router election will occur, then this router will become the active router. But there is a condition for to enable active router on the sorry to enable preemption on the active router, that we have to change the priority. Okay, by default priority should not be there on the active router. We must have to change the by default priority. Okay, now let me show you one. Okay, now I am showing you one topology. Okay, after that I will give you one topology. You will use this same topology. Okay, I will tell you on this sheet. Let us check. Okay, first what we are gonna do, let's do configuration of the router one first. Okay, what we are gonna do, let us come up. Let's make one loopback. Okay, suppose this is a loopback of Google, or we can say this is an IP of the Google. Okay, which is on the now what we are gonna do, we will enable one IP on the E0/0 interface, IP address 192.168. Okay, now what we will do here, okay, on the router 2, router 3 and router 4, okay, we will do on router 2 and router 3 only. Okay, I will show you how to enable HSRP on R2 and R3. Okay, after that we will see how our data will flow. Okay, and what are the commands to enable the HSRP on the routers. Okay, but before moving on to those things, okay, let us write the command on the E0/1 interface also, 192.168.2.2 no shit. Okay, and okay, we will do the routing part later. Okay, first let us do one thing on the router 2. Have we enabled router 2? Okay, now what we will do on the router 2, now what we will do on the router 2, on E0/0 interface, let us check that. Okay, no IPs are there in E0/0 interface. IP address 192.168.0. 101 dot. We will give this as one IP, 255.255.255.0. Sorry. int e0/1 IP address 192.168.101.1 255.255.255.0. No shut. Now we will configure EIGRP. Okay, now router EIGRP 100 network 0.0.0.0. Okay, and we will do no auto summary. Okay, if you don't know no auto summary, if you don't know network 00, leave it. When we will do routing part, I will explain you, although we have already done all these things on the CCNA part, but still. And we will, what we will do, we will enable this passive interface on the E0 slash interface. Okay, okay, let me write down what is passive interface also. Okay, so basically this look, let me open the topology. So basically what's happened here, okay, this router once root na will go to here. From R3 it will go here to this switch, and switch will also provide the R2. What we want that only router one's root will come from here. Okay, and router one's root when goes to the R3, it will go only from here, not goes from here. Okay, that's why we enable this passive interface on this E0/1 interface. So how we can write about the passive interface is that passive interface, it's an CCNA concept. Passive interface basically, in whenever we enable passive interface in LAN devices, or we can say in LAN interfaces, in LAN interfaces, no hello messages and no hello messages get sent, and no update messages got forwarded. Now let us see the topology first. Now what we have done till now, that in R2 we have enabled this E0/1 interface. We have enabled passive interface on the E0/1. Okay, we have done the routing part here. Okay, now same thing we will do on the router 3. On int E0/1 interface, we will write the IP address 192.168.101.2. Now same thing. No, we haven't write the router. Okay, no auto summary, and here also we will write the passive interface. On which interface? Can you tell me, Kaushal? On which E0/1? Why E0/1? Okay, we enable this only on the our LAN ports. Okay, now let's do the same configuration on the router 4 as well. Okay, conf t int E0/1. ये उसमें पढ़ा नहीं था क्या CCNA में? हाँ, अरे तो NP कैसे कर रहे हो? अच्छा, तुम्हें बोला था, तुमने ऐसा कुछ बोला था क्या? तुमने CCNA ऑलरेडी करा हुआ है? ओके, ठीक है। देखो जो CCNA में हम पढ़ते हैं वो थोड़ा इसमें बाद में बात करते हैं, ठीक है? पहले ये कर लेते हैं। नाउ वी हैव कॉन्फ़िगर्ड ऑन int e0/0 3.1, okay, and we have to do routing here. Okay, router HSRP 100 network 0.0.0, no auto summary, and passive interface on E0/1. Okay, now have we configured HSRP till now, Kaushal? Okay, हमने R5 open ही नहीं करा है क्या? Okay, now we will do one thing. Okay, first let us check is it pinging or not. Will it ping right now? If I will try to ping 1.1.1 from R5, will it ping? Kaushal. 1.1.1.1. क्यों? अरे वो दे देंगे, उसके बाद बताओ। अरे वो दे देंगे, उसके बाद बताओ। क्यों नहीं कर रहा? Now, okay. You show IP here. R1 में कॉन्फ़िगर कर रखा है सब? That is to ping to the 192.168.1.1. Okay, after that we will ping 101.1. Okay, आप लोग आउटने डाल रखे। Router HSRP 100. Okay, now neighborship comes up. Okay, don't focus on the neighborship. Do ping 192.168.101.1. Okay, it is pinging, and PC's IP is 100.10. Okay, now it will ping. Now this is our R5. Okay, we will ping 1.1.1.1. As we can see, it is pinging right now. Okay, but what will happen if I will this R2 will, when R2 will go down, let us disable this int E0/1 interface. Okay, will it ping now, Kaushal? हेलो कौशल, क्यों नहीं करेगा? इधर तो इतने सारे राउटर्स है। तो अगर मेरे को करवाना हो पिंग, फिर हम क्या कर सकते हैं? नहीं, HSRP नहीं करना हमें, फिर हमें गेटवे चेंज करना पड़ेगा। राइट, ठीक है। तो फिर व्हाट्सएप, एक सेकंड बाद। So what's happening here? We have to change the default gateway again and again if our router goes down. Okay. As you can see now, it will ping. Okay. So that's the problem. That's why we need HSRP. Okay. So to enable HSRP, what we do? Okay, we have a one command called like we will go on to the interface. Okay, like here we will go E0/1, same. I think all the interfaces are same. E0/1, E0/1 on E0/1. Okay, so on all the routers, okay, we will use we will go on to the E0/1 interface, and we will write down here standby. This is a number, okay, group number. We call this a group number. Standby 1. Okay, after that we write IP. Okay, suppose we are giving it 192.168.101. Okay, after that we are giving 100. Okay, so here we have configured HSRP on router 1. So same thing we will do. Okay, we have, this is router 2. Okay, अरे कहाँ है? अभी रुको, अभी दिखाता हूँ। Okay, now we will go into the int E0/0 interface. Okay, here we will write down standby 1 IP 192.168.100.1. same देना पड़ेगा. Okay, int E0/1 overlaps. अरे 100.100 का गेटवे कहाँ दे दिया मैंने? कौन सी, इस पे? R5 पे तो इसका दिया था ना 100.1 का, दिखाता हूँ. 100.1 का दे रखा है ना, वो लिख रखा है मैंने वहां पे. अभी मेन वही करना है, वो बस दिखाने के लिए था. ओके, क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रही है? overlaps. Okay, I think int E0 slash do show IP in BR 1.2 है. standby 1 IP 192.168.100.1. अरे डल गई है, ठीक है. सेम ही तो कमांड है ना, ऊपर भी और नीचे भी. छोड़ो, वो इमेज की इशू होगा. ठीक है, नाउ व्हाट वी विल डू. ओके, हियर वी गॉट द मैसेज दैट इट गोस टू द स्टैंड बाय स्टेट. ओके, सो इफ यू वांट टू चेक इट, व्हाट वी विल डू. ओके, R2, we will do it like this. Okay, do show standby. Okay, here we can see it is status active, and the virtual IP we are using 1.100. Okay, so Kaushal, you were asking that it was we are assigning or it was automatically taking virtual IP. It will not take virtual IP automatically. We will assign virtual IP by ourselves, but it will automatically take the virtual MAC address. Okay, this 01 is the group number. Okay, this much will be same till AC. It will be same. Okay, on all these do show no do show standby no do show standby on all here it will be same. Okay, but whenever we will create a new group number na, okay, it will show us the new virtual MAC address. Okay, let me show you. Where is our R5? Do show R5. R की कमांड क्या होती है? ARP तो है. Okay, here you can see the MAC address is AABBCC00210. Okay, but now what we will do? Okay, let us try to ping 1.1.1 again. Okay, it is pinging. Now what we want? Okay, let us see first. Trace route 1.1.1.1. Okay, as you can see here from the IP, we can see it is going from the R. Which router is this? R2. Okay, it is going from the R2. We have given R2 this IP, and this is the IP of this 192.168.1.2. Okay, 1.2 IP is of the our ISP. Okay, of E0/0 interface. Now what we will do? We will change the default gateway, and what we will provide the default gateway. Which gateway will we provide? Kaushal. And what was it? This one. So now will it ping? Let us check. Okay, it is pinging. Now let me show you one thing. Do show ARP. Okay. Now here you can see the our traffic is going from. It is using virtual MAC address. Array, I have shown you now. This is our active virtual MAC address. Earlier it was taking the E0/1 interface of R2. Now it is taking the virtual MAC address. How we will get this virtual MAC address? From the group number. Like if it is a group number 1, it will do 01. If it is a group number 2, it will do 02. Kaushal, mic mute कर दो. Okay. Now we can see from here in our ARP table that our traffic is going from the 000C07.A701. Okay, this is our local virtual MAC address. Okay, here we will see that it will send next hello in 0.17 seconds. Okay, hold down hello time is 3 seconds and hold down time is 10 seconds. And this is active router. Okay, it is showing you here that our standby router is 100.1 101.2. Okay, which is our I think R3. Okay, let us see here. First let us end it. Okay, show standby. Okay, we can see here. Show standby. Okay, we can see here it is showing that our active router is 100.1. Okay, priority is this much. Okay, this is our next hello. This is our hello time. This is our virtual MAC. This is our virtual IP. Now what we will do? What I am gonna do it that I will shut down this. Okay, int E0/1. Now we can see we got a message here that this standby becomes the active. Okay, let us check here. Show standby. Okay, now we can see that this router becomes the active. So the date now this time data will go from this router. Ping 1.1.1. Okay. Let us do the trace route. do work here, do trace route 1.1.1. Just wait for a few seconds. Okay, yes, and it will create one this group number. Okay, it's just like it will from the interface and the group number and the protocol which we will use, it will create the group name. Okay, and look here, we can see now this time the data is going from the router 3. We have given IP 101.2 on the router 3. So this is how we can configure these HSRP. Okay, now there are commands for the, like if you want to change the priority, we will use suppose if you want to change this R3's priority. Okay, we will go with this. Yes, and एक second. Let me show the this command, priority change command. Okay, we'll go to the int e0/1. Okay, we'll write down the command standby. बोलो. A0/, अरे उससे क्या होगा, नहीं जाएगा, नहीं जाएगा, कैसे जाएगा उससे, वो बंद कर देंगे तो तुम आईएसपी का एनडी बंद करवा दे रहे हो. हाँ, अरे यहाँ पे कोई चीज अवेलेबल है तो ये क्या जाएगा, फिर यहाँ से जाएगा, ये वाला बनेगा. देखो उसके लिए एक ट्रैक कमांड है, वो भी रुक जाओ. ठीक है, तब अरे मेरे को सुनो सुनो सुनो, बात सुनो यार. ठीक है भाई, तभी बोलता मैं ना, आगे मत जाया करो. अभी क्या होता है, दिक्कत होती है, पीछे वाले कॉन्सेप्ट ही पता नहीं चलेंगे, आगे जाके करोगे. देखो ये हमारा राउटर 1 है, ये राउटर 2 है, ये राउटर 3 है. ठीक है, एक ट्रैक कमांड होती है. ठीक है, सपोज हमारा देखो, चलो वो तो एक ही आईएसपी एंड है, सपोज यहाँ पे 3 आईएसपी एंड है. ठीक है, ये राउटर 1 है, ये राउटर 2 है, ये राउटर 3 है. ठीक है, अब ये कनेक्टेड है एक स्विच से, और वो स्विच कनेक्टेड है एक लैंड डिवाइस से. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे क्या होगा, अरे यार. ठीक है, अब देखो यहाँ पे सपोज ये एक पीसी है. अब यहाँ पे क्या होगा, अभी तक हमारी इंटरफेस डाउन जा रहे थे. ठीक है, तो सपोज हमारे राउटर डाउन नहीं गया, तुम तो E0/1 को इंटरफेस, E0/1 इंटरफेस को डाउन करा रहे हो ना. ठीक है, हम इसको भी डाउन नहीं करा रहे. ठीक है, अगर R2 भी डाउन हो गया, R2 का इंटरफेस डाउन हो गया, तो शायद क्या पता चल जाए राउटर 3 और राउटर 1 को. ठीक है, हम क्या कर रहे हैं, राउटर 2 डाउन ही नहीं जा रहा, आईएसपी डाउन जा रहा है सीधा. ठीक है, अब देखो अब क्या होगा. अब ये पीसी है, ये यहाँ से सपोज ये वाला ठीक है, ये वाला यहाँ से जा रहा है, ट्रैफिक यहाँ से जा रहा है R2 से. ठीक है, सपोज R2 में डिफॉल्ट राउट है. ठीक है, तो R2 में भी पैकेट ड्रॉप नहीं होगा ना. अरे डिफॉल्ट राउटर था, R2 में भी पैकेट ड्रॉप नहीं होगा ना. अरे सिर्फ आईएसपी पे यार, आईएसपी के लिए 0. ठीक है, तो ये चले गया यहाँ पे. ठीक है, अब जो पैकेट्स है वो यहाँ पे ड्रॉप हो रहे हैं, हो ना. तो अब क्या बाकी राउटर से हमने यहाँ पे सपोज HSRP कॉन्फ़िगर कर रखा है. ठीक है, सपोज ये हमारा 100 Mbps है, ये 50 है, ये 10 है. ठीक है, सपोज इन तीनों राउटर से हमने HSRP कॉन्फ़िगर कर रखा है. पर क्या ये HSRP इनको पता चलेगा हमें एनेबल होना है, R2 तो डाउन गया ही नहीं ना, नहीं पता चलेगा ना। तो इसके लिए क्या होता है, हमारे पास यहाँ पे एक ट्रैक कमांड होती है, ठीक है। ये ट्रैक कमांड क्या करेगी, जो हमारा आईएसपी होगा ना, इस पे मैसेजेस भेजती रहेगी। जब इसे दिखेगा ये मेरा जो मैसेज है इसका रिप्लाई नहीं आ रहा ना, ठीक है, जैसे हमारा यूडीएलडी का फीचर था ना, वो एक मैसेज भेजता रहेगा, अगर रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आया तो उस लिंक को डाउन कर देगा। तो ये राउटर क्या करेगा, अगर इसको आईएसपी से रिस्पॉन्स नहीं मिलेगा ना, तो ये अपने आप को डाउन कर देगा, ठीक है। अपने आप को डाउन करेगा तो फिर बाकी राउटर्स को पता चलेगा, बाकी राउटर्स को फिर पता चलेगा, तो फिर जो स्टैंड ट्रैक कमांड हम चलाएंगे, जैसे इस वाले इंटरफेस पे हमने चलानी है जो आईएसपी के साथ कनेक्टेड है, ठीक है। तो यहाँ पे हम चलाएंगे ट्रैक कमांड, ठीक है। इस ट्रैक कमांड का अरे करेंगे, वही तो मैंने बोला, आप ना आगे का कॉन्सेप्ट पूछते तो फिर तभी दिक्कत होती है। जो चीज आगे बतानी होती है तो पीछे वाली चीज तो रह जाएगी ना, मेन छोटी छोटी चीजें पहले वो तो कवर करूंगा ना, तभी आगे नहीं जाते, हर चीज एक बारी में शो नहीं कर पाता, ठीक है। तो ये ट्रैक कमांड भी दिखा देंगे आपको, उसमें कोई दिक्कत है नहीं। ट्रैक कमांड देखो, ट्रैक कमांड दोनों तरफ चलेगी, एक तरफ एक्सटर्नल में भी चल सकती है और इंटरनल में भी चल सकती है, ठीक है। ट्रैक कमांड में बहुत सारी चीजें होती है, इसमें क्या होता है, हमारी बाय डिफॉल्ट प्रायोरिटी डाउन भी करवा सकते हैं हम, ठीक है। बाय डिफॉल्ट 10 से डाउन होती है, ठीक है। हम अपनी मर्जी से हम चाहते कि इतने टाइप से वो डिक्रीमेंट करे, हम चाहते हैं 50 से डिक्रीमेंट करे, उसका फायदा क्या है वो सारी चीजें बाद में बात करेंगे यार, ठीक है। अभी बेसिक जो मेन मेन चीजें है ना वो समझ लो, क्योंकि मेरे को आप लोगों को एक प्रैक्टिकल असाइन करना है, उसके लिए छोटी छोटी चीजें वो समझो, ठीक है। ऊपर ऊपर से समझ में आया ना ट्रैक कमांड से क्या होगा, जो तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन था उसका आंसर क्या है, कैसे वर्क करेगा, ठीक है। हाँ तो अरे वो दिखा देंगे। ट्रैक कमांड का ना कुछ छोटी मोटी चीजें और भी बतानी है ना, तो इसलिए खाली वो दिखा के खत्म करके फायदा नहीं है, तो उसमें दोनों चीज बतानी है। अभी तो हमने जब बात करी सिर्फ एक्सटर्नल वाले आईएसपी वाला ना, हमें इंटरनल वाला भी बताऊंगा ट्रैक में, ठीक है, कैसे जाएगा क्या काम करेगा, और मैं इसके अंदर जो प्रायोरिटी चेंजेस होंगे वो क्या होंगे। अरे माउस पैड काम नहीं कर रहा। Okay, what was I was showing you? Okay, yes, I was showing you the priority change command. Okay, have I changed the priority? No problem. This is our. Now let us go to the int e0/1 interface. I'm just showing you the priority command. Okay, how we can change the priority. Okay, to change the priority, we will use standby one priority. Okay, and whatever priority we want give. Okay, let us see the range. Okay, we will give this priority as 120. Okay. क्वेश्चन आपको ट्रैक की कमांड भी दिखा देता हूं मैं, स्टैंड बाय 1, ठीक है। ट्रैक फिर क्या होता है, ओके, ऑब्जेक्ट नंबर 1 दे दिया, ओके, एंड आफ्टर दैट look here we have the decrement. Okay, how much decrement we want to the priority. Okay, ये decrement कब होगा, जब सपोज हमारा आईएसपी डाउन हो गया तो राउटर अपने आप डाउन करेगा, ठीक है, वो चीज है। अगर हम यहाँ पे डिक्रीमेंट नंबर वैल्यू नहीं डालते तो फिर वो क्या करेगा, अपने आप को 10 से वो करेगा, डिक्रीमेंट करेगा, ओके। और भी क्या कर सकते हैं हम यहाँ पे, सीधा शट डाउन कर सकते हैं इसको, ठीक है। तो ये ट्रैक कमांड के बारे में हम कल बात करेंगे, ठीक है। बट बिफोर दैट आई हैव टू गिव यू वन होमवर्क, ओके। तो आप लोगों का होमवर्क कुछ ऐसा होगा, ठीक है। कमांड्स आप लोग इसमें से देख लेना वापस, ओके। You guys will have 3 routers, router 1, router 2 and router 3, okay, and they are connected to the switch and they are connected to the one LAN device, okay. Now what will happen, this is same, okay. जो भी ये था कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, जो भी ये अपनी आईपी वगैरह थी वो सारी सेम होंगी, ठीक है। वर्चुअल आईपी भी सेम होगा, बट यहाँ पे क्या चेंज आएगा, यहाँ पे आप लोग अटैच करोगे 3 पीसीज, ओके, और हर एक में डिफॉल्ट गेटवे में एक नया वर्चुअल आईपी दोगे, ठीक है। सपोज आप लोग कैसे करोगे,
3 ग्रुप क्रिएट करोगे। ग्रुप 1 की वर्चुअल आईपी 192.168.100.1.100, ओके, जिसको एक्टिव राउटर इसका कौन सा होगा, R1, ठीक है। सेम ग्रुप 2 के लिए होगा, ठीक है, इसकी वर्चुअल आईपी 192.168.100.1.200, ठीक है। इसका एक्टिव राउटर किसको बनाओगे, R2 को, ठीक है। और सेम ऐसे ग्रुप 3 को क्रिएट करोगे, ठीक है। जहां पे वो ग्रुप आएगा ना उसमें नंबर में खाली 2 डालना है, ठीक है। ऐसे 3 ग्रुप क्रिएट करने हैं आपको हर एक राउटर पे, ठीक है। उसके बाद ये सपोज ये PC1 है, इसमें आप गेटवे दोगे 100 का, इसमें दोगे 200 का, इसमें दोगे 300 का। उसके बाद बस पैकेट कैप्चर करके ऑब्जर्व करना है, ठीक है। सो दैट्स इट फॉर टुडे गाइस।